Well, good morning, folks. It's the middle of March here, 15 March, day 363 remote. Hard to believe that almost a year ago today we took the team remote here. This is Weather Trends 360 Studio here, and we'll have some exciting news here in the months ahead as the spaceship is moving, and we will talk about that and take you on the journey here as we move the offices here over the next several months. Speaking of rocket ships here, you may have seen along the East Coast here. Hard to see upper left here, though. A Nest cam caught Elon Musk launching his Falcon 9 Starlink and put 60 more satellites into the atmosphere here. Zoom in here a bit here. You can see it was about 6:10 in the morning yesterday morning. And again, as that rocket fuel interacts with the upper atmosphere, you can obviously see this glow. And as the sun's beginning to rise way off into the east there, you can see this glow, blue glow. So pretty fascinating. Again, caught a lot of folks off guard here along the East Coast early Sunday morning around 6:10. So it was pretty fascinating. If you got to see it, again, you saw Elon Musk launching more Starlink satellites. Looking at last week here on a retail calendar ending 13 March here, so maps versus last year. Here in the U.S., about 0.8 degrees cooler than last year, but still 7th warmest in 36 years. So above average temperatures. 59% drier, driest in 17 years, second driest in 36 years, so much below average precip. And snowfall also down 24% less than last year, least in 5 years, fifth least in 36. So warm, dry, snowless was generally the theme on a national scale. Don't tell folks in Colorado that, but nationally. Here in Canada, it was wall-to-wall warm, 7.2 degrees warmer than last year, much above average temperatures. Europe on the cold side, 7.5 degrees colder, coldest in 8 years, below average there. And Russia was the epic Polar Vortex spot, coldest in 21 years. China, warmest in 3. Australia finally had a warm week after a cold summer. They had 1.5 degrees warmer than a year ago, so above average finally there. India continues their warm trends, warmest in 3 years, and Brazil also continuing their cold trends, coldest in 35 years. And maps inset left are the trends versus average. One thing that's way above average here is dry-to-drought conditions across the U.S. 67% of the country now in dry D0 to D4 phases. Average this time of year would be about 46%. So we're pretty high, again, most in 21 years. So pretty dry conditions for much of the country here. If you're wet, you're wet, and if you're dry, you're dry. So it's feast or famine here on that front. Looking at this week here, 15 through 21 March here, it's going to be kind of a severe weather week here potentially. Similar to last year temperature-wise, warmest in 4 years, 10th warmest in 36 years. So continuing those above-average temperatures. Cool spots would be East Coast, West Coast, wettest in 18 years. So again, after a dry week, we're going to get some stormy weather here. 4th wettest in 36 years, above average precip. And again, that southeast is the target for severe weather activity here this week. Despite the blizzard in the Rockies and moving through the plains here, still 25% less snow than last year, 5th least in 36 years, so much below average snowfall. Again, some snow in the Rockies and the upper Midwest this week. Tornadic activity has been almost non-existent this season, only 41 tornadoes so far here through the season, which is a little low to say the least, 75% below average and 75% below last year. So we're way below average here, slowest start in 6 years. We may add to that, obviously this week here, Tuesday, Wednesday, could have as that storm system moves into the southeast, that enhanced area there from, let's say, Arkansas into Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia. Good chance of some severe thunderstorms and tornadic type activity here. The other thing that's way down is flu and COVID trends, obviously. There's a lot of research suggests that if you have a one major virus, you can't have two. So it's very unusual to say have an epic flu season and an epic COVID season. So flu's been historic lows for many reasons. COVID's now at a 5-month low. So let's hope these trends continue through the warmer spring, summer months. So maybe the end is near for this virus. Looking at next week, week ending 28 March here. Again, continuing the warmer trends versus a year ago. Warmest in 4 years, 8th warmest in 36 years. Big warm up across the plains, Great Lakes, Northeast. Similar to last year with rainfall, 7th wettest in 36 years. Southeast continues to be the stormier spot. Again, so we'll have to watch for more severe weather next week. 'Tis the season. Snowfall least in 17 years, 3rd least in 36 years. So much below average on that front. Meteorologists said spring arrived about 1 March. Sun says it arrives this Saturday, so 20 March at 5:37 in the morning. It is officially spring on every way you can measure it. So looking at the world outlook here again for the next 2 weeks. Again, big map now is versus average. Wall-to-wall warm there across Canada and parts of the eastern half of the country. Still remains cool in Europe, maybe a little bit of moderating trend, and certainly a moderating trend across Russia, where it's epically cold right now. But again, some moderation as we go into the later period here. And Australia looks to cool off again. So again, cool down under. And maps inset left there is precip trends versus average. One thing that's been very heavy, to say the least, the precip front has been down in Hawaii. If you've been watching that, again, most in over 36 years here for the front half of March. As a kid growing up in Kaneohe, Hawaii, at the base of the Ko'olau Mountains, it was kind of a rain event like this one they just had here in Hawaii that got me interested in weather and science and meteorology. We had 100 inches of rain in 1 week there at the base of these Ko'olau Mountains. It was epic, to say the least. And again, as a little kid, certainly got me interested and excited about weather. This time, actually, for some of you may remember this, about 7 years ago, took my now wife, Simona, got married in Hawaii on a beach where I used to play as a kid. So good perk with a meteorologist is you can obviously try to time things with dry weather, and we certainly had a very, very dry couple weeks there in Hawaii. So it was a low rainfall, nothing like they're having right now here, with, again, the most in 30 years, in some cases the most in several decades. So again, I'll just share some of our wedding photos here as we got married on Waimanalo Beach outside Lanakai and on the island of Oahu, again, where I played in the sand some many, many moons ago. So share some of our wedding. No, I wasn't stepping on her toes here, so that's not why she was crying. But again, we had a great time. It was just great memories here 7 years ago here this week. So with that, folks, we hope you have a great week, and we will be back here this time next week.